You're with the Breaker-Leggers!
And we're in London's West End at the Noel Coward Theatre
to see the brand new James Graham play, Labour of Love.
So stay tuned to find out how many legs,
whether it's break a leg
or leg it. Before you go any further,
to make sure you've always got your finger on the theatrical pulse
for theatre news, reviews and interviews,
hit subscribe now.
So, Labour of Love. What do we know about this piece?
It's a brand new play written by the usually fantastic James Graham.
James Graham.
Yeah.
Now, we love James Graham. Now, currently, he has 2 plays on this street.
He does.
Labour of Love being the first, and just down the road is Ink.
Yeah, I mean, what an achievement for him. He is your go-to political playwright. He has done This House, which was about the Labour Party and the Conservative Party hung parliament of the 1970s.
He's also done The Vote, which was based on the recent election, was it? Recent before last?
Yes.
One before last.
And that was broadcast live on Channel 4.
From the Donmar warehouse.
Absolutely. He has also done Ink, as we've mentioned.
Ink, which isn't political, it's about the Sun newspaper.
Yes. And I feel like there's something else he's done that we've seen.
You say something about
Coalition.
Coalition. Oh yeah, Coalition, which was aired, which was about the... What was that about?
It was about the coalition between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives in the last Conservative government. We had that leadership before Theresa May came in and ruined it for everyone.
So, what else do we know about this piece?
It's been directed by Jeremy Herrin. Now, Jeremy Herrin, we've caught a few of his pieces. He's collaborated with James Graham before on This House.
In terms of the pieces we've seen that he's done, he also did People, Places and Things. People, Places or Things.
People, Places and.
And People, Places and Things.
Which we adored, and we're actually catching again on tour really soon, so you can catch our review for that pretty shortly.
He also is he something to do with Headlong Productions?
Yes, he's the artistic director of Headlong Productions, and he also directed Junkyard, which we saw at the Bristol Old Vic, and you can catch our review for that just up there.
This piece then, Labour of Love, do we know what this is about?
Well, it's about the Labour government spanning the last 25 years and even going beyond, right from
Kinnock,
yes,
through to
Blair,
Jeremy Corbyn,
yes,
and possibly into the future.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with them? And it's set in the heartlands of the North, where the Labour Party were first founded, and it's a struggle between someone that believes in doing the right thing for the community, and somebody believes getting the vote is the most important thing.
Now, quite a big pull in terms of the cast, because it stars Martin Freeman.
Yes, of Sherlock and The Hobbit and The Office.
He's pretty big. I've seen him most recently in Fargo, which he was absolutely brilliant in.
Yeah, big A-list name, really, Hollywood. Also, Tamsin Greig is playing the lead female character in this piece. She stepped in last minute, actually.
Yes, it was meant to be
Sarah Lancashire, who unfortunately had to withdraw on medical grounds quite a long way into rehearsal period. They'd printed all the posters and everything. No longer her, but Tamsin Greig is wonderful, so safe pair of hands. We saw her in Iho.
Yes, and we also saw her in Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown.
Yes, she's done a lot of TV work as well.
Recently she did 12th Night at the National Theatre.
Yeah, and she's in episodes with Matt LeBlanc on TV. So great cast, great creative team, great writer. What could possibly go wrong?
How long is this piece, do we know?
Haven't got a clue.
Hopefully there's an interval. If so, we'll catch you then. We've come to the interval of Labour of Love here at the Noel Coward Theatre, which means it is time for the Breaker-Leggers
30-second interval breakdown.
Go! What do you think so far?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I don't think there's anyone that's better observed as a playwright when it comes to politics than James Graham. He is a master of his art, and I am loving it so far. Performances are great. Stage craft is wonderful. How about you?
Yes, I think it's very much in the writing. He is a great writer. He knows his stuff, and he can tell a story really well. It's really funny as well. I'm lolling in the aisles. Some very strong characters. Strong first scenes. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the second act. We've come to the end of Labour of Love here at the Noel Coward Theatre. So, what did you make of that?
I Really enjoyed it. I had a great evening. I thought it was really well observed, as I've come to expect from James Graham. I thought it was brilliantly performed and played out, and I just sat back and had a bloody good time. How about you?
Yeah, loved it. I'd say another hit from James Graham. Fantastic writing on themes that he loves and knows and has come to execute so well in terms of political stories. But I'd say this one almost shifted a little bit more in terms of it was a very personal story, almost between just two characters spanning over 27 years. And the way I think he's just coming from a political background, you're going to have characters that are very strong. You're not going to have any passive characters who don't have much to say because they're involved in politics.
Opinion.
Strong-minded, strong views. So I think that in itself is just incredible drama. So he's tapped into a market, which just means that everything he touches is a dramatical masterpiece in a way.
Yeah, and although this is set around the kind of transition of the Labour Party right from kind of Margaret Thatcher going out in the early 90s.
Kind of Kinnock, is it?
Yeah, to Kinnock coming in, and then the challenges, and then Blair finally getting power. And then right up to now, that is just a backdrop to what is a relationship piece, a friendship piece, a colleague piece, a relationship between two people over a very long period of time, and how that ebbs and flows and changes. But even that was beautifully observed. I think James, I know I've seen interviews with him where he says he enjoys the research into historical, events, but in this, I think he's just sat back and looked at people and their relationships with one another and the complexities of their relationships with one another, and that has been set against this, the Labour Party journey and mirrored in some respects, but it's been beautiful, absolutely beautifully done.
Yes, and I have to say as well that you've got to have a strong cast, and the cast for this was absolutely fantastic. I thought Tamsin Greig was absolutely brilliant, and to know that she only came to the party quite late, really, in terms of coming to this piece.
Yeah,
she smashed it.
She wasn't even cast in the role.
No.
I think she is. I don't want to call her Old Faithful, but that sounds a bit derogatory. But if you need someone to step in at the last minute, you're not going to go wrong with Tamsin.
No, and I've seen her in other stuff. We've seen her in other stuff, and I thought she was absolutely fantastic in this. Again, a bit different to what she has done. She plays comedy extremely well. She knows comedy. It comes extremely natural to her, and she smashed it in this. Yeah,
comic timing was fantastic. I loved the direction from Jeremy Herrin as well. I thought he did that with I almost felt like as a director he put a lot of the responsibility in the actors' hands. It felt that natural to what they were doing, that he'd almost just gone, go for it guys, and then maybe fine-tune their actions, but he'd done it with such a brilliance and a trust in his actors, calibre of which is probably unmatched in the West End right now. And Martin Freeman, talking about natural in terms of direction, Martin Freeman is just a natural performer. He's so natural and easy to watch. He wasn't so much he can play that kind of bumbling kind of idioty kind of fool clown character, but for this he was very strong. So I see a very competent character from him. He was great. I like that about Martin, is when he plays a person well. There's no strong character in this role, but there's a huge amount of heart and a huge amount of reality, and I think Martin does that excellently.
He brings the person to a human being or a hobbit or whatever it is that he's playing. The set was very simple and yet moved very slickly. It was on a revolve, but we only kind of figured that out at the end. So It's like they almost wanted to reveal the secret. I'm not sure what you thought about that.
I don't know.
Sounds like a magician revealing its secrets.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought they were just doing scene transitions really quickly.
Incredibly fast.
And I was thinking, wow, they must have about 20 stage crew waiting to go on. And then it is revealed a bit later, quite openly, that actually there are two sets working on a revolving unison with one another. And we got to see that in the second act. In the second act, I almost felt like, was it a mistake to not bring down the the backing to the gauze or something.
I was
like,
as well. However, when it did pivot all the way around, the light was on, and I thought actually when it's revealed before, the lights were off and then the lights came on. So I think it did seem as if it was a decision. We've caught it in previews.
Yes. So this is very early in the run. The piece itself needs very little work, but things like that could change.
So we'll see. Do they reveal that it's a revolve? Later on in the run, let's see.
Who knows? Lovely set nonetheless.
So I bet you're probably wondering how many legs we are going to give Labour of Love here at the Noel Coward Theatre.
So for Labour of Love, we are going to give 4!
An astounding 4!
Yeah, guys, this is great. I'd say it probably just misses out on a 5 because we're judging it against other James Graham pieces. I loved talking about dynamic staging, which I always harp on about. I suppose there's less you can do with a piece like this, but something like this house, where probably on paper didn't look like it could be taken to another level, they put dance and music and things like that in it and really shook things up. This doesn't have that, but then again it's a different piece. But for me, I couldn't rise to a 5 knowing what Jeremy Herrin and James Graham have done together before. They set the mark really high with this house, and this only just comes under it. I'd say it touches a 5. It does touch it.
It gets very close.
Yeah, it gets close, but not overall.
And like I say, there's nothing wrong with this piece. This is a fantastic piece of writing. I think it is just very different, especially as it's just wholly around 2 characters. Just has a different flavour. Didn't quite pitch that exciting dynamic production, although it is still a great production.
Absolutely, that's what we thought. What did you think?
Yeah, let us know. Leave your comments below.
We must say big shout out to Elisa, I think it was, who we bumped into. Yeah, she stopped and said hi and said she subscribed to our channel. So if you do see us out and about, please speak.
Yeah,
We'd love
say
to
hello
hear from
to
you.
us.
We're the Breaker Leggers, and we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.